Alright, it's Sloth's Xavier Guide Part 17, and I went into 20-minute territory on the last video. I do apologize. So to make up for it, I will do the Trinkets, and the Tarot Whispers, and the Gear Engravings, all in 10 minutes. Let's do this. Ready? Let's go. Okay, Mysterious Deflection Device. Okay, we already know that breakers get range damage reduction. This doesn't add, this isn't additive, this would be multiplicative, okay? So you could, like, if you really have problems with range damage, I guess you can use this. Okay, next, we have Mystery Guardian. Mystery Guardian. Okay, when he's attacked from the front, gains bonus physical defense. Remember, like, Xavier makes it impossible after he uses Maso to be attacked by melee attacks from anything but the front. And he gets damage reduction. In addition, right, if he gets hit with a ranged attack from the side, it turns to the front. So the only weakness he has is ranged attacks from the back. This would also make it so that that giant defense pool that he built up stays the same. Hat. He gains immunity to disrupt. Okay? Meaning that, well, he can use whatever skills he wishes, and he gets magic defense increase. Okay? That's a good one too. That's fine. Next, he's not using this one. It's a healer's item. Next, Maverick Cloak. Maverick Cloak, he could use this one. It gives him attack and defense increase. It does give him crit chance. You could build him crit if you want to, because then he'll have like a 25% crit chance after using this, right? And if you use the double halberd, like, then he'll have a decent chance to crit with that weapon. Okay, next. We have the Crystal Burst Armor. Strike Back deals 25% more damage. He doesn't do Strike Back unless Preempt is considered Strike Back, right? Then this would help him do more Preempt damage, okay? But only on Preempt. But Preempt would be given a 25% damage multiplier. Okay, next. True Lens has that nice 5% physical attack on it. When attack from Highland crit increases by 20%, Xavier's not a unit that gets Highland advantage. Comet Dash has a bit of a height issue. You're not going to go from like height 3 to height like 0 or height 10 to height 2. So let's skip this one. Healing Powder. If you're doing a life sustain build, this will increase his lifesteal amount by 16%. Okay, and makes it so you can't turn his healing off. Next, Flying Blade Arm Guard. Good on any unit, especially useful in PvP. Alright, next, Spring Pill. Another way for him to heal without needing a healer and dispels 2 debuffs. Next, where are we going? Where are we going? Come on! Berserker Incense. Increases his movement and damage by 20%. Usually your first turn is moving closer, but you're not close enough to use your Comet Dash into Maso combo. So this gives you another point of movement and also boosts your Comet Dash by another 20% multiplier in addition to everything else that you built up. Next, Old Scrolls of August. This can only be used on another ally. Okay? You could equip it on him to guarantee that you move first and you give it to another character and make sure they move second, I guess. But this is probably better on other characters. Next, Shroud of the Void. I've been calling this the Veil. Okay, this is what will make him pretty much impervious to magic damage, right after you go behind enemy lines. So, which is his biggest weakness. So I highly recommend this, especially in PvP. Next, Luxite Great Shield. It takes an active turn to use this. He's not going to have many active turns. The only active turn he would get is the one turn he has before he does Comet Dash. So unless you use this round 1, you're not going to ever get a chance to use it. Next, Space Time Ring. This could be used to dash in with Comet Dash. You put Maso, and then as soon as your tank catches up, you use this on your next turn to teleport behind your tank and then get the heck out of there, right? So it definitely gives you League of Legends like kind of silly like Lee Sin vibes, okay? And it also increases your attack by 10%. Next, Roaring Flint. I've been calling this the Fire Ring. This does up to 20% piercing damage in a giant AoE. I mean, Look at that thing. You can also use this before you comet dash and even on your way to comet dash. You can walk 2 steps, throw this sucker, okay? And then cause burn ground. Walk on it, cause 10% damage to yourself, triggering that everyone else is higher HP. You comet dash, you get a 20% damage increase, not attack increase, damage increase, in addition to your weapon and Terror Whisper, in addition to this 20%. Very, very, very great combo on Xavier. Next, we have the Origin Hourglass. Like, movement and speed are what make Xavier kind of work. It gives him physical attack and magic attack. I don't know why they didn't just say attack increased by 8%, but oh well. This is great, but I think there's a lot better options. But if this is hindering you for whatever reason, then okay, there you go. He doesn't have alert skills. Okay, that is all of the trinkets. Okay, next, Tarot Whispers. Okay, so how do we view all the Tarot Whispers? Well, let's go ahead and go to that barrel event. And she gives you a selector. Okay, March of the Chariot. Gain when you're on standby, you get move 1. This will probably only be applicable on your first round where you move. But if you have teammates that give this to you, Gloria can give you movement 1 at the beginning of the round. So if you have Gloria, you don't need this. Damage reduction. Damage reduction is always nice, but if you put this on, you don't have increased damage. So it's up to you, but Xavier already has a lot of built-in damage reduction. Like, and a good form of damage reduction is good damage, right? A good defense is good offense for Xavier. If he does a lot of damage, he puts them into injured and dying state, which then they do less damage. Dream of Magician. Highly recommend this one, especially since he's an area of effect specialist. You put this on area of effect specialist. And since he also can use a pole arm, he has the access to the double halberd. So this goes up to 16% when it's evolved, and then does 16% times 24% when you hit the max 4 enemies, which he can do with Comet Dash. If you're not hitting at least 3 enemies with Comet Dash, I don't know what you're doing. He, when it's not his turn, damage is increased by 20%. So you can combine this with the strike back armor and make his preempts do 20% multiplier times 25% multiplier times whatever damage buffs he has, and make his preempt really hurt. If you up his preempt damage so high, like, it's possible you might kill them or get them into dying before they attack you. So this is not something that you I wouldn't say is like a horrible build, but you know, it's not going to be it's an option. A Wheel of Fortune, generally universally good one. The more of them you have on your team, the better typically. Okay, gives you healing, gives you AoE damage, gives you damage reduction, gives you damage increase, can give you attack, defense, and energy. Essentially, what this means is that, and then at the evolved, you get 2 buffs. Now, this allows Xavier to maybe not use Spear, maybe not have Maso if you want to, or not have Spear of Iria, right? And then you're hoping for that extra energy, and then you go in with 5 energy, right? With and then you might have energy, and if you're not using Spear of Iria, you can put 1 more skill on your toolbar. So maybe you put Chaotic Battle instead. Go in behind enemy lines, put Maso up. You're about to die, then you do a Chaotic Battle. You're back up to nearly full life again. Okay, because like the problem usually is you don't have enough energy to do a two energy skill after you go in with Chaotic Battle and then you use Maso. Right? But with this, you have a possibility to get an energy without having to wait. Okay, next we have healing. This is good for his life sustain. Okay, lifesteal build. Next, this is good if you are building crit on him and crit damage. Then I guess you use this one too. You don't have to. You can still do crit damage, crit chance with gear, but then use the tarot. It's up to you. Okay, here You dispel attribute buffs from random enemies. Not the best. Next. You get a shield. Not the best. Next. When attacking injured enemies, you do 20% of their defense. Ignore 20% of their defense. Okay? So this is going to be applicable after you go in with Comet Dash. It also increases damage to injured enemies by 20%, I believe, at its evolved state. So, this will really empower his Musou and then also his preempts. So, if you really want to use this one, it's not, again, the worst option. Okay? This doesn't require you to be hitting multiple opponents. So, if you're having a hard time hitting more than one unit, or hitting even like 2 units but not 3 or 4 after you dive in, then maybe this could be the way to go for you. Okay, Guidance of the World. You recover energy additionally when you're not using any active skills and on standby, right? This is kind of like the Chariot, where maybe useful in round 1, but then you'll probably won't ever use this ever again, especially in a PvP situation. Next, you have increased damage against healthy enemies. This helps with your burst damage earlier on, okay, but won't be applied anywhere else. The only PvP situation where I think you'll be able to use it again is if you dive in, you do increased damage, and I think this goes up to 25% increased damage. So you have a 25% increased damage modifier for your Comet Dash. Then, afterwards, what will happen is you'll do your damage. You might get a second round before the enemy gets another turn. You do Musou, you set up your defense, they attack you, you're still alive. The healers will go, and perhaps the healers will heal them from dying/injured up into the healthy range. The healthy range does not mean they're 100%. They could be like 80% health, right? This means that when it's your turn again, you're going to get a 25% damage increase again. And maybe you have Chaotic Battle that helps you with life sustain. Maybe you like do a different attack, or maybe like they try to attack you again, but your preempt kicks in, right? So there's a few different options here, right? Gibbous Moon. When you recover energy when you're injured, the effect increases when you're injured or dying in the evolved form. Okay, so this gives you a way to heal without having to do damage or anything. You do have a damage loss because this is not a damage increase, but this is a sustain tarot. Elegance of the Empress. Okay, this turns a debuff into a level 1 buff on an ally. You don't cast skills on allies. Never use that one. Next, Temptation of the Devil. Okay, I don't recommend this one on Xavier because he's someone who dives into the enemy. He's and he's doing a lot of damage as possible to a lot of enemies, but like to say that he's going to probably be killing people, that really depends on the power level difference between you and your opponent. His job is to stress out the enemy team and find weak points in their formation. The rest of your team is going to do the killing. So so if you're really good at that, you can put this on Xavier, but he's not gonna. But the whole point is to have him do damage early and burst and quick, and then live and sustain and be a nuisance and a distraction. Fool's Naivety. I'm not gonna really go over the Series 2 because Series 2 is so rare. Like, it's gonna be hard for people to get it and get good rolls on them. Okay. So I did both Trinkets and I did Tarot Whispers. It wasn't 10 minutes, I'm sorry, and I didn't get to Gear Engravings, I'm sorry, right? So, but we're not gonna make another video. We're gonna go right into Gear Engravings, right? You thought I was gonna make another video. Okay, we're gonna go into Gear Engravings. We're gonna go ahead, go look at Enhance. Okay, Gear Engravings, you ready? Okay, sword. I can see you doing this if you're doing crit and you really want to burst that damage with like a double halberd, like Magician Tarot, right? But not, and then you invest in crit using this because you can't use the resonance like in PvP, Resonance is a really good PvE option, and I recommend this on most characters that have high cooldowns or high skill cost. Okay, let's look at Wand. Okay, so he gets a level 2 buff for doing anything. This doesn't apply, unfortunately, to his trait skill, because that's not a basic attack or a skill. Now, I don't know, actually, I don't know if it counts as an assisting attack. I don't think it is, right? And preempt. I will have to test to see if this works on his preempt. It says strike back, but it doesn't say, but preempts may not be considered or classified as strike backs, so I'll have to double check. Pentacle. Okay? This helps make him tankier. This might be really good on him, because Xavier benefits from even more damage reduction. So now the downside is Pinnacle doesn't have has the worst physical attack percentages and flat physical attack mods. So maybe build 2 different kind of sets for him, but then are you gonna put a Pinnacle on a double halberd? Are you gonna put a Pinnacle on a double halberd? You'd have to, right? Oh, I don't know about that, right? But an increase in your damage by 5%, decrease by 5%, and if you have Magnus with his Fortitude aura, right? This is just a damage increase, right? When you're injured. So it could be worth it. It could be, but that can be risky. I wouldn't remove a high-end percentage engraving off a double halberd for this though, just to test it out. Try it on some other weapons and see what results you get. Okay, next, Cup. This is going to be for his life sustain build, although I'd rather be doing more damage than increasing my healing effect received because it's only 10%. Okay, next. Before actively attacking, for every tile you traverse, you increase your attack and defense. Okay, well, that's nice, right? This is for active attacks. If Xavier is behind enemy lines and he's getting hit, right? This is not going to increase his attack stat or defense stat when he's getting hit. So this one is okay. Maybe it will help with his burst. But I think you'll get more use of burst with something like sword, where adding to his crit chance will up the chance you have a 30% multiplier to your damage from a crit when you do his big skills. Next, when unharmed, attack and defense increase by 12%. Xavier's not going to remain unharmed for too long, right? One hit and that's it. This is good for backline attackers, but not for him. Next, Sword Cup. This is overall really good. In fact, this is up there. The 5% damage gives him more damage, true, but that lifesteal allows you to get some form of health back behind enemy lines. And if you're doing a decent amount of damage, right, and if you do AoE, if you can get some good lifesteal out of it, right? So, especially if you bring Chaotic Battle with you, then that Chaotic Battle is now a 55% lifesteal, and it's a giant it's a giant AoE centered around him at 2 tile range. You can hit at least 3 enemies, and with a 55% lifesteal, you're probably going to be back at 100%. Okay, Wand Pinnacle, increased physical damage taken. I don't think Xavier needs physical damage taken reduction. He has a lot of that in his kit. Next, Wand and Cup. We already went over that. And lastly, to make this just a 20-minute video, decreases magical damage by 15%. You could definitely get that on him if you like. He does suffer from being from magic damage more than any other type of damage in the game. Okay, well, that was a 20-minute video, but it could have been a lot of mini videos. We're just gonna make it one 20-minute video. I spoke the fastest I ever did in any of these videos. Oh my goodness. Okay, next video is gonna be on team comps.